broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
We are back, episode 3,
Yes.
week 3 here at AfterBuzzTV.com. This is the Amazing Race After Show for season 26, episode 3, Murphy's Law. I'm your host, James Wallington, and with me across the table is...
What's up, guys? I'm Jessica Carroll, and back with us, and we're so happy he's back.
Yay!
Missed you all so much. God, it's good to be back. My name is Justin Nichols, and thank you for forgiving my absence last week, but it feels great to be back, and I love this episode, so...
I loved it too.
Solid episode. I would say one of the best this season so far.
Definitely unpredictable.
Out of all three.
I love
I agree
it.
with you, man.
Let's just say it was better than last week's.
Agreed.
Well, I did want to show a little clip before we started tonight's after show. I found that Ellen was actually mentioning The Amazing Race on one of her shows. I'm sorry, I just brought up her YouTube. I'm going to tweet out the link because unfortunately we weren't able to stream it to today's show, but you need to make sure to check it out because it's hysterical and it mentions The Amazing Race. So
Amazing Race and Ellen, you just can't go wrong.
And she has like 9 billion followers on social media, so I think every, boost The Amazing Race can get in publicity, let's do it.
Let's
Ellen,
do it.
keep talking about The Amazing Race, girl.
So if you want to see the video, I'm going to tweet it right now at James Wallington on Twitter. And you guys, why not throw your Twitter handles out there as well?
You can find me at DressJessXO.
And me at Justin J. Nichols, and I follow James religiously, so I will retweet it as soon as...
Yes.
Oh, there it goes. So then we will retweet it on all of our social media accounts. But anyway, so there you go. Look at the video. Hilarious.
So all
Good
10
job,
people
James.
that are watching right now on YouTube, go to Twitter and watch the link if you want a good laugh. All right, let's dive into episode 3,
Let's just get in
Murphy's
there.
Law. So the teams, as we saw last week, the rankings were Jenny and Jaylani in first, Laura and Tyler second, Allie and Steve third, Harley and Jonathan fourth, Bergen and Kurt fifth, Jeff and Jackie sixth, Matt and Ashley seventh, Mike and Rochelle eighth, and then in ninth, Haley and Blair. This week, the teams got their route info that told them to fly to Phuket, Thailand. After landing, they would make their way to Patong Beach, where they will find their next clue. Alrighty, what are you guys thinking as they start off this episode?
Go ahead, Jess. Oh, I mean, I can't wait for this. I mean, I love Thailand, but all these flights, though, I don't know. A lot of different flights. It was very confusing to me as well, like what was going on. And once again, you get to wait for a long time there, catch up. I don't know. James?
I thought it was fun that they showed, kind of for the first time this season, the interactions at the hotel, because at the beginning it showed that they were still at Patio Diamond and the blind date teams were getting settled into their hotel rooms. The legal team and Team SoCal went completely
Separate.
different hotel rooms, whereas Jeff and Jackie, they're hitting it off. They're one of the blind date couples this season, and they go ahead and share a room. They're feeling very comfortable.
Yeah.
So what would you do? Would you... If you were in their situation, would you stay in separate rooms? Or would you...
I think there's definitely strategy to having separate rooms. And Tyler did kind of elaborate on that a little bit about how it gives you guys a little break from one another rather than being with each other 24/7. It's a nice little break. And that way when you start the next day and head on to your next leg, you're refreshed and you're able to work together without being down each other's throat.
Right, you're excited to be back with your partner.
I'm also glad you brought that up, though, James, because sometimes the people that I watch the show with, or I've been reading comments online, a lot of people have been criticizing this season about how it seems to be going much more into relationships and, the rooms, sharing rooms. I actually really like it.
Yes.
I like the added layer to The Amazing Race this season, but a lot of people disagree with me, and they say, just get to the race. We don't need to see that garbage, but I like it.
I like it because, and we've mentioned this before in previous seasons, that we don't get to learn who the actual contestant is. And this way we're really learning about, what they kind of look like in people, who they want to date, do they get to know people really fast and they feel comfortable, sleeping in the same room. Like, you're really getting to know the actual person and, like, their backstory through the dating twist. So I'm loving the twist. And, I feel like even on social media, thank you guys all for commenting, I feel like it's about half and half. I feel like half the people are loving the twist and other half are like, kind of what you said, like, all right, let's race.
I agree. And, being super fans, if you watch the earlier seasons, like I've mentioned this before, you see that interaction. Downtime at pit stops, downtime at the hotel. So you kind of learn the dynamics of all the different individual teams and the alliances that form. And then somewhere along the way, we've lost that on the show. So to bring that back now with a completely different element of the blind date twist, I love, because not only learning them as individuals, but you're also learning them as a team. And so I think this could potentially transpire into something bigger. They can even bring it back next season, but I think that they can do more than just blind dates, and I think that's a lot of the reason why people are turned off to the concept, is because it's not The Bachelor, and I can kind of see the parallels there about how you're looking for love, but it's The Amazing Race. Like, you want $1 million, it's a competition,
right?
So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it turns out in the long run. But
and it's already been very interesting to see that the blind date couples are killing it.
Such a good job.
It's also because they don't have so much emotion attached to their partner, where they almost have to be like on their good behavior. They just kind of are helping each other out and figuring out who they are along the way. Whereas the couples who've been dating have a lot more emotion. They're more open and,
Yeah, and I think also there is a lot of baggage. Even the best relationships, you bring on a lot of baggage in a relationship,
Absolutely.
But also, if you don't know someone that well, you're going to communicate even more clearly. You're going to think things through more, because if you're in a relationship, you're just going to say, come on, you just know what I mean by that. Why don't you read my mind? So I think that you're right. It does really help.
Yeah.
And that's what we saw at the beginning of this episode, is that the legal team, Jelani was saying that he's not surprised that the single blind date teams are doing better, because Jenny even added on to that there's no expectations that you have of the other person, and that you have no other choice but to be polite, because there's a common goal that you guys want to reach together. And then we have that the SoCal team, Laura and Tyler. Laura saying that the pre-existing couples definitely butt heads more, and they're and she's like, I've known Tyler for a few days, so it's just a lot easier to communicate and be less frustrated because of the common goal at the end of the race.
Right.
So we have New Kids on the Block. They had their date night, which looked like a really awesome date night. And that kind of gave them a little advantage, I have to admit, because they seemed a little bit more recharged and relaxed. But as we saw as the episode went on, that didn't seem to maybe they were a little too relaxed in their decision making, or not really thinking through options for flights. Blonde date for Kurt and Bergen. We continue to learn more about where they stand with one another.
We just know now.
But I love how neither of them have been out of the United States, which we've known from the pre-race interviews. And so it's interesting now to kind of hear that story play out. But Kurt's like, we love thin, tall, masculine, muscular men. We are not a match.
We're not a match. But they did say that, we're still going to be friends. We're going to be friends along the race. And so I like that they just came clean and said that we're not a match.
And then, again, no expectations, and you don't have to really impress each other either.
Right. Yeah, so now they're just racing as friends, and that pressure's off.
I like that. Just race. I'm just waiting now for Blair and Haley to do that. Like, just come on already.
Just admit you're going to be friends.
I just want Blair to be like, we are not a match.
But Jeff and Jackie, woo!
They are hitting it off.
Oh my gosh, I like the two of them together. I mean, they were one of the teams that we were like, oh, this could go wrong.
I was like, I hope no one rewatches our original prediction episode, because there I was like, oh, what a horrible couple. This is never going to work.
But it seems like it is working.
Yeah.
So funny. We should actually go back and see.
No, Justin, no.
Watch our precast assessments and go from there.
Let's not say we did.
I like that they're hitting it off, and I think they're a really cute couple. And actually, the fact that they are so comfortable to the point where they're helping pick out each other's underwear, which I don't...
I was wondering if I heard that correctly, because when I heard that, I was like, wait, I need to rewind. And then I still was like, wait, did she really say that?
I mean, I've been dating my boyfriend for a year, and he still doesn't even pick out my underwear.
It's like, what's the point? Like,
wear what you want to wear, all right?
Oh, Lord Jesus. Well, going back to what you asked, what would I do if I was a blind dater? Would I share a room or have my separate rooms? I would be curious to know if the pre-existing relationships had that option. Because to me, it puts the blind date teams at an advantage because they are getting time away from each other, whereas the pre-existing relationships are constantly being forced to see one another. I don't know. I think even in a relationship sense, like if I was doing it with my sister, a little break from her would be nice.
Right.
And if it's at downtime at the pit stop, just to kind of recoup and kind of, all right, self-examine, self-evaluate. What can I do better? How can I treat my sister better in the race? Or what can we do better? I mean, that kind of gave the blind date couples an advantage in a way.
I agree with that.
I would agree too. You know, I mean, normally like couples, you think, they would want to stay together, but I think that is a good point. I would say, like, you know, equality for all, and so if they're going to do it for the blind dates, they need to have that option for all of them. So that's a really good point you brought up.
Thanks. All right, so moving forward, we have the flights, we have the drama. Everyone's trying to, you know, figure out what flight's going to get them to Thailand the quickest. Flight 1, it looks like Matt, Ashley, Mike and Rochelle, Jeff and Jackie, Haley and Blair, and Allie and Steve were the lucky ones to get out first.
Total lucky ones.
To Thailand.
Right.
Which I thought was interesting because, you know, at the start of the leg from last week, Haley Blair, Mike and Rochelle, Matt and Ashley, and Jeff and Jackie were all the bottom 4 teams.
That's what
How are they the first teams out?
And that's what made me so mad watching this is I was like, wait a minute. If you do well in one leg, that should give you the advantage to lead first for the second leg. And then when I saw the back teams were all, like you're getting all your points this week, James, because some random ass teams got on the right flight. I was literally furious. I mean, that's the challenge of the race. I get it, but come on.
I know. There's always, whenever there's fights involved, you know there's always going to be drama and tension. And there was definitely tension. And poor Jonathan and Harley,
They got wedged out of the second flight.
Yeah.
Yes.
And got put on not only the last flight, but the next
morning,
day's flight.
Well, I was a little confused as to why they didn't stick with Kurt and Bergen because you saw them in the episode kind of interacting at the airport, and then all of a sudden they went their separate ways, where Kurt and Bergen were able to get on the third flight out of the airport, while Jonathan and Harley are still waiting at a ticket booth.
Yeah.
I didn't get why you won't stay with teams in an airport to figure out other flight options.
Right, and especially, you know, as a strategy, it's always good to be with another team so you know, okay, we just need to beat this one team.
Exactly.
So I in the whole airport, I kind of got confused by that. So.
But you know what, though? I will say this. I think that if they can get over the speed bump coming up, they do seem to be an okay team as far as, like, mentally, because after this happened, for most teams, that would be devastating.
Yeah.
But you really didn't see a point where they melted down. They were like, well, we're out.
Right.
They just kept saying, you never know. It's the amazing race. Something can still happen. We're still in this.
Right.
I appreciate it.
Again, that goes back to their date night. They were probably a lot more relaxed, just going with the flow. We had a spa time up in the mountains of Japan.
I missed the flight. No worries.
No big deal. On flight 2, we have the legal team, Jelani and Jenny and Tyler and Laura. Flight number 3 out of Japan was Kurt and Bergen. And then last but not least, somewhere beyond a blue moon, Jonathan and Harley, who ended up getting stranded.
And then their luck kind of didn't pick up anyways because when they got in the cab, their cab had to stop for gas.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Poor guys. I was just like, we just have one thing. But then once they got there, they found their clue. It was an equalizer where everyone had to stay overnight, and so they were able to catch up.
Right.
Now, I did think it was fun because some of the teams, when they did arrive in Thailand, they were given the option. It seemed like, you know, they can go back to the hotel, relax,
or go out,
and let me tell you, they
and
were
Patong Beach
flowing. Yeah, they were in their element.
I was actually surprised that they were doing shots. Like, if I was racing the next morning, I would have a drink. Yeah, obviously. Shots.
But a shot,
of, like,
something
tequila,
hard.
like Hangover on The Amazing Race would not be up my alley.
No.
Yeah. It was probably like 5 p.m. or something, but I don't know. Who knows?
Of course, he's like, you guys, it's like
I'm trying to work it in. I'm trying to figure out how I could get it in there.
But whereas, you know, Matt and Ashley and Steve and Allie went out for it looked like they had like a little date night together, double date dinner, and had a just chill little night. But once the teams arrived at Patong Beach, they had to find the selfie sticks, the guy with the selfie sticks, and they were given departure times for the following morning. At 8:30, the departing teams were the hairstylists, Sochi Love and Truck Stop Love. At 8:45, Team JJ, Haley and Blair, and the legal team. And then at 9 o'clock, Blonde Date and Team SoCal. We see them again at that night at the hotel. They have to share a room with another team, and no one seems to know where Jonathan and Harley is still.
No.
There was a bonus clip, and I should have actually had this, but I really wanted to show the Ellen one. But there's a clip of Bergen and Kurt, because they were, the last flight to get to Thailand. Yeah. They got to the hotel late, and everyone had already settled in. Haley and Blair, they shared a room with Haley and Blair, and they were all like, yeah, none of us have seen Jonathan and Harley, so you kind of see them talking about where are they? Yeah. So sorry that I didn't have that clip, guys.
And then Bergen and Kurt, I actually watched that one too, and Bergen and Kurt walk into Haley and Blair's room, and they're like, when did you guys get here? It's like 2 a.m. And they were like, yeah, we got here at like 4 p.m. yesterday. And so they were shocked, but they were happy to hear that all the teams were back together, and they all got started the next morning.
Equalizer, but more like by 15 minutes.
Right, yeah.
But still, that's a lot. That's a lot of time to catch up there. We have the route. Well, that's also when they did a little cut to Jonathan and Harley just stuck, completely relaxed, kicked back in Singapore. Completely different country.
Yeah. Not even in the right spot.
They get the route info the next morning that told the teams to proceed to Bantilanka to find their next clue, which is the upside down house. How awesome was that?
So cool.
Loved it.
I mean, this is part of the reason why I'm obsessed with the show. Yes, I love the competition and the race, but just seeing these unique places. I mean, an upside down house. That was incredible.
Do you know what we should do? Our new job should be, besides doing the AfterBuzz after show, we should become the new scouting people for the Amazing Race.
My
that
gosh.
would be the best. No pressure of having to race, but you still get to go explore the countries.
Right.
What are we doing here?
That's like a dream job.
You guys, or coming up with these challenges.
Yes.
I mean, who comes up with these challenges?
You're a sick human being is what you are. No, I don't know.
They're crazy. I mean, some of the challenges are just like, how do you even think of these?
And I'd be curious to know how long it takes to really plan a race. Because first off, you go to Thailand, you think of, Phuket, it's like a pretty popular destination in Thailand. And then you travel around, like, how do you decide what to do while you're in that city?
Right.
And they go to Bantilanka, the upside down house. Like, I've never heard of that ever on any sort of travel show. So this is, like you said, a reason to love The Amazing Race is you see these things that you never would have heard of otherwise.
Right. And their clue that they had to find was out of a upside down toilet. Yeah. Which was hilarious.
Normal.
Yeah. There's the toilet. It's on the roof.
Before we head on to the Detour, I just wanted to give a shout out. We have 18 people watching live right now on AfterBuzz TV's YouTube channel, and I'm reading some of the comments. So big shout out to Adam Millwood, Ellis Tedder, Getty, Jonathan Edwards, Sunset Rusher, Daniel JB, Mr. Air Sonic is listening live right now. So and Dawn Fan Forever, whoever Dawn is, and then Jititandra. I probably butchered that name, but nonetheless, we appreciate all of you tuning in right now live and keeping the conversation going. So once the teams are at the upside down house and find the clue in the upside down toilet, the clue is the Detour, ski or tree. For ski, teams were required to survive one lap around the Phuket Wave Park, aka water skiing, and tree, teams had to carefully deliver a full meal through the treetops 100 feet above the jungle floor. If they successfully delivered without dropping anything, they'll receive their next clue. Yeah.
And,
what would you guys...
Mr. Rookie over here is actually not water skiing, it's wakeboarding.
Really?
Wakeboarding.
Did you really think it was water skiing,
I thought they had skis.
No, it was a wakeboard park.
Oh. I thought it was 2 legs.
They have 2 legs, but you put
I could have sworn they were skis.
No, James.
A wakeboard. Which is even harder, right? Because you're
even more
God.
than ski.
I could have sworn I saw skis, but whatever.
You did see 2 legs. You're right on that.
I did see 2 legs. Well, at least I didn't see 3 legs. Oh, that would have been weird.
To answer your question, though, I think for once I would have actually done the nature one. I would have done the zip lining. Because I've seen these waterboard parks throughout, like in Orlando and some other places. They're really hard.
Right.
Because it's not like a boat that keeps steady. You saw it there. Once your cable whips around these turns, it just slingshots you.
And I think they said 20 miles per hour was what it was at.
Even if you are really good at water skiing or wakeboarding, this is a totally different animal.
Oh, yeah.
And so even like the Olympians you saw was not easy. So I think I just would have been like, oh God, zipline's scary. But I'd rather do that.
Right, and ziplining is more of a, less of, you don't have to be as athletic, you just gotta kind of hold on and be brave.
Yeah, just hang on tight.
if I was reading the two of them, I probably would have done the zip lining. I just love zip lining. I've done it many times. But I would have actually been torn because I'm also a wakeboarder. So I wakeboard every single year, every year. So it would have been hard, but I probably, just to be on the safe side, would have done the zip lining.
James?
Yeah, I'm just reading all the comments that people are leaving.
About your three-legged.
Jitendra Kalani goes, it's okay, James, that you messed up my name. It happens with most Indian names. Thank you. But anyways, yeah, I
love India.
For this detour, I probably would have done tree. There's no way in heck I was going to attempt.
You don't even know what a waterboard is. So
but then why would they call the detour ski? That's what was confusing.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I would definitely have done the tree detour because I've been ziplining and it's so fun. And to do that in Thailand, come on. And I didn't even realize that was like the newest craze in Thailand, to zip line your meal to you. Like,
I had no idea.
What?
But that's kind of cool. I want my next meal.
Yeah.
We saw that Team Sochi Love and Team JJ attempted to do the ski part of this detour. It looked like to me that Jackie was doing pretty well. And that didn't surprise me because she is a dancer, but I was like, there's no way she's going to make it on the whole thing. She made it probably halfway, but there's no way on the whole thing.
That was challenging.
Yeah, it was funny because she did her first attempt and it looked like she did fairly well. And then Jeff goes and he's being dragged. Like, he couldn't even stand up initially from the starting podium. He was just being dragged into the water.
Honestly, this whole episode, I was just laughing. I thought it was funny.
Oh, and the amount of water that must have gone up their nose, because you don't just fall and like slowly sink into the water like when you're on water skiing. You just face plant. Like, you're just, and I'm done, bam. Reason number 320 why you shouldn't do that challenge.
Well, this is why
20 miles per hour.
Exactly. And so I definitely approved them going to switch detours because I would have done it after one attempt. Would have been like, there's no way. Time to go to the tree part of this detour.
Right.
Exactly.
On the flip side, the teams that just went straight to the tree detour were the hairstylists, the legal team, Truck Stop Love, Blair and Haley, SoCal, Blonde Date, and of course, when Jonathan and Harley finally catch up, they went to this part of the detour.
9 hours later.
Matt just could not get it together in this detour, bless his heart. He was just standing there and the champagne glass fell into the bowl of soup.
He wasn't even on the zip line.
Yeah,
Not
I know.
at all.
And he was talking to Ashley saying, do it this way, sweetie, and then just boom, like his own champagne falls.
Oh, Matt. But we see the legal team and Blair and Haley run into the same trouble. Jenny and Haley both kind of assumed that the challenge seemed a little too easy. They were like, there's a list of stuff up here on a menu. There's no way you just take one dish and take it.
Yeah.
But their teammates, Jelani and Blair, did not listen to them at all. And we see that little spat between Haley and Blair. They go up there the first time, and when they're up there, they noticed that behind them, Matt and Ashley had a tray of all the items. And that's when Haley's like, you need to listen to me. And Blair's just like, okay. And he goes down the zip line. And then once Haley gets to the end of the zip line, she's like, I don't mean to be a biatch, but you need to listen to me more. And this is another reason why I think blind date couples, they're at a disadvantage, because it's like, if you think you can do better than your partner, you're not going to really listen.
Yeah.
You think you know the right thing.
Right.
I don't know, James. I mean, I feel like you're giving Haley so much credit right now. And I mean, I know she listens to our podcast, but she was so hard on Blair that, like, people make mistakes on the raise. I would have zoned her out too, because she was just like, this is why you should listen to me. This is why I'm always right. Like, she didn't stop after that mistake. And I was like, no wonder why he's zoning her out. She complains to him all the time.
That was my thing, is that she just is a complainer. Like, everything he does, it's wrong, or he did this wrong, or you follow the people, like, what we should do this. It's like, it's partly like she needs to step up too and be like, take the tray, like, take all the items. Like, it's not just Blair's fault.
Right.
I have a conversation with Blair instead of being like, I told you we should have did this. Let's be like, hey, let's take a breather. I think I'll have a civil adult conversation with him. I think things could go a lot differently.
Well, in Haley's defense, I'm going to play devil's advocate right now. We saw in the first episode, from the get-go, Blair does not seem like a team player. He didn't even help Haley over the mound in the last obstacle of the first obstacle they had to do, which made them lose getting on an earlier flight.
Yeah.
So already you can tell that Blair's he's just not going to listen to Blair. I think he completely has wrote her off from the very beginning. So going into this, I think she's fed up, and the reason why she complains all the time is because her partner is not listening to her. I would complain all the time time. It's like, when are you going to wake up and realize that I may be blonde and annoying, but at the end of the day, I do have... I can observe. I can do this. And I have just as much to contribute to this team as you do. So listen to me. So yeah, I completely am with her as to why she complained a lot. And before she even went down the zip line, before he went down the zip line, she didn't really complain. All she said was, you don't listen to me. I think we need to get everything. That's when he just went down the zip line.
I just feel that if, they don't know each other very well, and so if her approach of just complaining to him is clearly not working, then find a different way to communicate with your partner.
Sure.
Like maybe she has to be a little more aggressive, and instead of saying what he's doing wrong, to say, you know what, I'm going to help you out here, take this, or follow me, or just a different approach.
But we also know from talking to racers from seasons past that sometimes a few people on The Amazing Race fall victim to editing, where they might you know what, we kind of need a villain, and those aren't the right word, but we need someone to really kind of
bring the drama.
Bring the drama in. So there's a good chance that maybe he's complaining back or whatever, but every soundbite of her complaining, they feed that in, and all of his complaining, maybe they feed that out just to make it seem like, because it was very entertaining how much they showed her complaining on every step she took back up the hill. And could be editing.
Sure.
And she was complaining a lot, and even when I saw the previews, I was like, ooh, they clearly are going to be struggling. Well, little did we know they're going to get second place.
Right.
So obviously,
they did something right.
Has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
For everyone who's watching live right now on YouTube, please leave in the comments, who are you? Team Haley, Team Blair, or are you Team Nobody in this situation? Because obviously they both have a lot of work to do, but it paid off in this episode somehow, some way, some blessing came upon them, and they were able to get second place, as we know. But I would love to know what everyone else's thoughts on the dynamic of their relationship.
And maybe we need to see those unaired clips, because we don't really get to see a lot of Blair. We're seeing a lot of Haley.
A lot of Haley.
But not much of Blair. So just like you said, it might just be editing, and we might just not be seeing
or it's just because Blair's a lot more reserved. And I feel like in team situations, if one of them is more of a character or more outspoken, the other one's just not going to get enough airtime. It's only going to be one of the two. So that could very well be what's happening too. Blair just doesn't have a lot to contribute in the conversation, which you never know. But nothing against them. They make this season very entertaining. Once they complete their detours, they get their route info that tells them to proceed to My Way Cabaret. And I could not stop laughing. I rewound it probably 3 times when they were asking for directions, Mike and Rochelle, the Thai man down at the buses or whatever, and he's like, oh, the Ladyboy show, the Ladyboy. He just kept saying Ladyboy over and over, and I was like, please put a little hashtag up in the corner, Amazing Race, that says Ladyboy show. That's
Ladyboy.
all I wanted.
Some of the hashtags they do think of during the show are insane.
Are good, yeah.
I loved it. Before we move forward to the last half of this episode, make sure you go to iTunes and give us some 5 stars. Leave a comment of what you like or don't like, but we're sure you like this after show, and let us know your opinions. Subscribe to the iTunes as well, and rate, comment, subscribe, because we love to hear what you guys have to say, and we love that you guys are so involved with our after show, because it gets us excited to come in here every single Monday.
And you know what's been fun too is that we know we're talking about how we have a lot of people right now watching on the live show, but we have been getting thousands of viewers on the YouTube channel as well.
Yeah.
So please keep that up. Remember, we had a challenge from the beginning of the season. If any other videos get 10,000 views, we'll do something pretty ridiculous. You guys can decide. I think one of the videos is already up to 6,000 views, so it's getting nerve-wracking. But no, you guys have been great. Keep leaving those comments either when you're watching live or on YouTube or Twitter, whatever, but just keep interacting. We love it.
And the Twitter comments, you guys, are so awesome. I love them. Keep them up. We love to tweet you guys, and honestly, we could talk about Amazing Race all day, every day, so keep them up.
There we go. We're weird.
All right, you guys. We are up to 20 watchers right now live on YouTube.
Wow.
And we definitely have some conversation going on about who are you, Team Haley or Team Blair. Adam is Team Nobody. And Dawn, again, she does make a point here. I did see this clip too. On the Amazing Race YouTube with all the bonus clips, there was a clip of Blair and Jelani on the pit stop mat, how they talked about how Jenny and Haley both complained for 20 minutes after the fact that they weren't being listened to. So it's like once you say it once, you don't need to keep beating a dead horse. Let's see. And then the last comment is Mr. Airsonic said that Blair and Haley are both at fault. Haley needs to have a mature conversation instead of whining.
Agreed.
And Blair needs to get off his high horse and let Haley give an opinion without ignoring her.
Right.
Which is very fair. And I think that the two of them acknowledge this.
Now, who was that last commenter?
Mr. Airsonic.
Airsonic, you want a job? job? Like, we go to the fourth chair up here.
You want to come sit with us?
Good to hear from you again. So,
All right.
Lady Boys.
Team, I almost said Team Lady Boys.
It's a Team Lady Boys.
Lady Boys.
All right, the My Way Cabaret, aka the Lady Boys show. Once the teams arrived, this route info is called Don't Drag Your Heels at My Way Cabaret. Teams had to dress up and learn and perform the choreography to a song. If the pro dancers of the Lady Boys show think that they have their act together, they'll receive their next clue. This was so amazing. This was like perfect television.
Brilliant.
It was. And in case anyone's listening to the podcast and you didn't get a chance to see the show, when we say dress up, we don't mean just like the guys put on a tuxedo, but the guys and girls had to dress up as drag queens in the show. So I mean, the guys had to put on like stockings and like eyelashes,
corsets.
lipstick. Girls had this big, everyone was wearing the same feathers in their hair. Like it was. When we say dress up, we mean like
it was a production.
Really dressed up. Yeah.
It was hilarious. I was dying. Mike in that corset with that makeup.
Oh, that was the best.
Mike like he said, looked fabulous.
Yeah,
I think
he
owned it.
He did.
Owned it.
And I also had a few. Go ahead, James. Sorry.
I was going to say, I think that because Mike and Rochelle were there so early, it gave them an advantage because they were able to just kind of rehearse the choreography routine.
Because
and you know what I really liked? What I really liked about Mike and Rochelle is that the last dancing challenge, they really got stumped.
Yeah.
And this challenge, they didn't let that fear get in the way, and they just took it on. They're like, you know what, we're going to do step by step. We're going to breathe. We're going to do this. And they did a great job. But even Mike, I mean, even dressed as a girl in a corset, he still kept focused, and they really learned that choreography. So
Player of the week right there.
Yes,
But what was also great though is we saw as other teams started to arrive, and they started to arrive really close together. If you didn't get it right, you had to go back to the back of the line and wait for other teams to do it. What was great about Mike and Rochelle is because they're not great dancers, they were far enough ahead of the rest of the pack. They could just keep going and going and going on stage. So I think they did it like 4 or 5 times without having to get off the stage at all. Huge advantage.
Huge advantage, which is probably what propelled them to doing well this leg. Haley and Blair were the second team to arrive. I mean, Blair looked pretty cute as a girl. I mean, he worked it. What do you guys think? Which guy looked the best in the Ladyboy Cabaret outfit?
No one looked good.
I think Tyler looked pretty good.
I would agree. Even with the scruff, it just added something to the look of the Ladyboy.
I'm trying to remember now. I feel like there was 1 or 2 guys that I was like, have they done this before? Like some of them.
Bergen and Kurt.
First of all, Bergen and Kurt. Theirs was like evenly. Like I was like,
they were like,
this is not their first rodeo.
They showed up there and they're like, we're not letting the gays down. Like we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this right.
Was it Jeff? There was some other guy that was like, wow, they gotta put it together.
I think Jeff did really well.
Yeah.
I was surprised.
But Kurt and Bergen, when they were in the mirror, they were like, getting it. And it kind of worked, I think, to Kurt's favor, too, because he works in the pageant world, so he probably knew how to do all that stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
But, I mean, Kurt and Bergen looked great.
Yeah, they definitely looked good.
Can you imagine remember one of our favorite racers from last season, Tim and TJ? And how,
gosh.
Could you imagine, I'm sure
TJ?
watching this, TJ, because he also performs as Miss Tijuana here in Los Angeles.
Yes.
And drag shows. Could you imagine, I'm sure he was watching this being like, why wasn't this our challenge?
Yeah.
Like, this is my jam.
Instead, they got stuck with that slippery pole, right?
He would have dominated. Actually, speaking of the slippery pole, so the wakeboarding challenge reminded me of the slippery pole. How all the teams that did that slippery pole challenge, they all had to switch because it was basically impossible. Same with this one. So I was thinking about you, Tim and TJ. I was like, this challenge reminds me of what you guys had to go
They would have been so good.
So they did a good job. All the teams did. I don't remember a team that was like 8th try, 12th try, 15th try. Like after a few tries, they all seem to do a pretty good job.
And you know what? All the guys, I think they actually secretly really liked dressing up and putting on some makeup.
None of them complained. They took it like a champ. And they ran with that. I mean, especially if you're going to be on national television, I feel like some guys would have been really... I thought more of them would be a little like, oh, God, my family and my friends and my coworkers are going to see me like this. But they all were just like,
let's
YOLO.
do it. Yeah, I loved it.
So that was great. I thought they all were wonderful in this little challenge. Once they completed the Lady Boy show, they were given their route info clue that told them to proceed to the next pit stop at the Baba Nest Rooftop Bar, which I would love to go visit.
Yeah.
It looked beautiful.
Yeah, it
and the
really did.
infinity pool. I would have been like, all right, I'm going to stay here for the rest of the leg, for the rest of the race.
Grab a glass
See y'all
of wine.
later.
Yeah.
On the way to the pit stop, Matt left his fanny pack at the Cabaret show, which caused some anxiety, of course.
Yes.
Now, knowing what we know at the end of the episode, it makes sense why he freaked out a little bit. I wonder if the ring was in the fanny pack.
Oh,
I think it was.
For sure. I mean, honestly, he must have been going crazy just knowing. And, you know, honestly, he probably left the fanny pack because he knew, like, okay, it's coming. Like, he was probably thinking about the proposal. Like, should I do the pit stop? Like, he was probably thinking about all that, causing him to leave the fanny pack. And then when he left the fanny pack, you saw just sweat drip down his face. He was like, no!
Can you imagine if the fanny pack had gotten stolen or, like, lost permanently and that ring was in there?
Devastating.
Devastating. Really quickly, I don't want to ignore Daniel's question. We kind of touched on it really quick, but just so I can acknowledge, he wanted me to ask you specifically, Jess, who you thought of the men looked the best.
So I think I said Tyler. I think Tyler looked pretty good. And then, of course...
You're crushing on Tyler a little bit.
Oh, I am.
Oh.
He is the hottest. I'm sorry. But definitely Tyler.
And then one shout out to Susan Anderson. She said, I don't know if I get more excited about our new Amazing Race episode or listening to you guys every week. I love you all.
We love you.
Big props to Susan Anderson.
Susan, do you want to jump on the AfterBuzz show?
Yeah.
I'm just handing them out like candy today. You're
Right?
also hired.
All right, the pit stop. The shocking pit stop. Because last week on the after show, Jess and I both predicted that Mike and Rochelle were going to get last place. Lo and behold, they surprise all of us and get first place. And I see a lot of people in the comments right now are saying that they were so happy Mike and Rochelle didn't go home.
Me too. I really like them. And you know what? Each episode, I'm liking them more and more and more.
Justin?
I'm indifferent about them. I mean, I don't know. They're a cute couple. I like their story. I don't think they seem like great competitors. I really don't. So, I mean, I hope they go far, but I don't think they're going to be in the top three. Nor do I think they belong in the top three.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So I don't think so.
I'm just happy that they're still in. I want to keep them in as long as they can because they're
Whose
really...
team are they on? They're not
My
on.
team.
Oh, get them out. Get them out.
Yeah,
You have
James
enough
is
points.
racking up in the points over
Yeah.
here.
Who would have thought that all of my teams for Fantasy Amazing Race got first, second, and third on this
can't.
leg? That is luck.
I
That
can't
is
believe
some
it.
serious luck. So Mike and Rochelle giving me 5 points, Haley and Blair giving me 4 points, and Jenny and Jelani giving me 3 points. The top three teams of leg 3. Then we have fourth place Laura and Tyler giving team, I believe, Justin 2 points. Allie and Steve, team Jessica, 2 points. And then Matt and Ashley, team Justin, 2 points. Kurt and Bergen, which is the wild card team, not on anyone's team. Jeff and Jackie getting 8th place, which gave Team Jess 1 point. And then last but not least, non-elimination leg. So, Justin, you still got a point for them, even though they came in last place, was Harley and Jonathan.
Got it.
Now that we're on Harley and Jonathan, I want to play a bonus clip of these two at the pit stop with Phil. They kind of explain what happened with their travels to Thailand. Take a look.
How could you not get through the airport? I don't understand what happened.
It was just crazy, and it was just like, I think a lot of people don't realize how much lack of sleep on this race can just close you down and just make you just like
Crazy?
crazy, yeah. So we were just running through the airport.
Hitting walls, like mental
chickens with
walls
no
and
heads on.
headless
chickens,
check-ins.
yeah.
And
Just trying to find flights, and they would say, well, we can get you to this city, but we can't guarantee we're gonna get you to the rest of the way. So it was just
like we would go to one terminal, then another, and it was just like nothing was coming up. You know, everybody stayed in this country last night.
yes.
And you guys were
We were sleeping in
Singapore.
Singapore on the airport ground.
So what have you learned about what to do and what not to do?
You gotta book a flight quick and jump on it and just not let your mind get clouded and keep pushing ahead.
Does this have anything to do with the fact that you guys don't generally deal with your own logistics with travel?
Unless I'm back in Boston, and that's the easy part, you know, just flying domestic's easy.
We weren't thinking straight,
No.
and that was our
Detrimental.
downfall, yeah. You guys are way behind, and I suggest that you do your homework when it comes to flights.
Yes.
From now on, yes. And just remember that there's nobody with you
No.
taking care of you and taking care of your flights. You got to do that for yourselves.
Yes.
So that's a little bit of what happened, which I think is ironic because didn't they at the beginning of the episode say, we're recharged, we got a lot of sleep at date night, so clearly not enough.
Yeah.
But they had mental blocks.
There's 2 comments from that. Also, I think Harley is like, he seems like a very big like workout enthusiast. They both sound like they just ran like a marathon.
Yeah, they
Breathe,
do.
Boys, breathe. And also, do you know who else was partying clearly in this country, Thailand? Phil. Hear his voice? It sounds like he was like, hey, how'd you guys do on the race? Like, Phil, get some rest, buddy. You sound terrible.
Another thing about this pit stop, not only were there 7 teams, I believe 8 now. Well, 7 teams got in at the pit stop at once. Mike and Rochelle had gotten there a few minutes before. But 7 teams, everyone was on the mat when we had an amazing proposal on The Amazing Race by team hairstylist Matt and Ashley. I was shocked that it was them.
I should get bonus points.
No way.
I think if your team gets proposed to on The Amazing Race, that is bonus points.
Oh, heck no.
I tried, Team Justin fans. I tried.
I loved the proposal because I think it's so cute. I mean, if I got proposed on The Amazing Race, I would freak out because that'd be just a cool opportunity and experience and a great story to tell your kids one day. So,
would you cry like Bergen?
I mean, that was really, I thought that was really sincere and genuine because I think there was a lot more to it than just finding love on the race. I think a lot of it had to do with, equal rights and marriage, some states not allowing gay marriage. Yeah, I could feel for him. So I think, I don't know.
I think it really touched home for him because I think he actually did go into the race thinking, I'm going to be paired up with someone who I could really see things with. And now he's open that they're clearly not a match.
Bergen's got a good friend, though.
Yeah, a good friend.
Exactly.
But bonus points from Matt and Ashley. Yay.
And, Kurt and Bergen, along the way, they won a date night reward, and they kindly gave it to Matt and Ashley,
for a
which
date
was
night.
so nice.
I'm excited to see next week's episode. I wonder what their date night is all about.
I can guess.
So that wraps up. Oh, and for all of you who are super fans, just a little blast from the past. The first team to ever do a proposal on The Amazing Race was from season 6. Then was Hayden and Aaron. They proposed to each other. And then I think season 17 was Chad and Stephanie. So this was the 3rd proposal on The Amazing Race.
What an amazing story, and what a great way to be proposed to.
What an awesome story, yeah.
All right, we have a few more minutes, so why not dive into predictions?
Yes.
Okay.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
All right, we'll just do first and second because I feel like roadblocks are so few and far between. So should we just predict first and second this week? All right, Jess, who do you think is getting first and second?
Okay. Sadly, I'm going to go with, I think Harley and Jonathan are going to go last just because they do have that speed bump. So I think they're going to maybe say bye-bye. I hope not. And then as far as first and second, I think first is going to be, I really want to see Allie and Steve back up. I'm just going to say them. And I think Jenny and Jelani, I think they're going to stay up to the top.
Yeah.
So you say Allie and Steve first place?
Yeah.
I'm with you, Jess. I think that Jenny and Jelani, even when they bicker, they're a really strong team. So I think they're going to go from 3rd this leg. I think they go back up to 1st. So I'm going to say 1st place, Jenny and Jelani. And I think they're going to stay in the same order, and Laura and Tyler are going to go back to 2nd place. So they're going to get 2nd. And I think going home, I can't say my team, the New Kids on the Block group.
You might want to because then they could get first. Like I predicted Mike and Rochelle.
Exactly. I can't send my own team home. I can't do it. So I'm going to say, I love them, Bergen and Kurt.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Aww.
And I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to say Laura and Tyler are going to get their first place win, not Jenny and Jelani.
I'll take it. I'll take the points.
I'm going to say Laura and Tyler.
Right,
and then in last place, I'm going to say Harley and Jonathan.
What about second place?
Second, I can see it be Jenny. I think Jenny and Jelani and Laura and Tyler are going to be like the team. It's kind of like Jason and Amy and Tim and Marie. Like they always battled for either second and first or second and third.
Yeah.
So I can see that happening. Last question before we close out today. We have a question from Dawn, fan forever. Since this is a couple season, name your top best OTPs, which means one true pairings from seasons past. I think that's a no-brainer for me. It's going to be Jason and Amy.
Yeah, sure.
That's a no-brainer.
We're obsessed with them.
We love Jason and Amy.
I would say Jason and Amy as well. And also before we go, we've had so many comments on the live thing, but I just want to quickly touch on the comments as well from last week. First of all,
on YouTube.
YouTube comments. So Sam Lane has been amazing. She's one of our more recent joiners for the AfterBuzz network. But Sam, so good to hear you again. I apparently have one person on Team Justin. So one. So thank you, Shiloh Hog 7. You comment a lot and we appreciate it. Joseph Boza is on Team Jess. All right, you got another one there, Jess. And Paul Minotti. Let me tell you, I have some words with him, James. He's on both Team Jess and Team James.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Nailed it.
What did I possibly do? Paul, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Soul Brother 69, always good to hear it from you. And sorry for the no shout out last week. But there you go. We're making it up. A double
Soul
shout
Brother.
out.
I love Soul Brother.
He's great.
He's been loyal to our after show.
Bree Reed wants to know, can James and Will do the Amazing Race? Please, please, please.
Ooh.
But then, right behind that, Seal 3081 is like, wait a minute, I hope Jessica and her boyfriend one day can go on the show. I think they can go really far. How amazing would it be if it would be Jess and your boyfriend, and then James, you and your boyfriend Will compete against each other? I think that'd be amazing.
I think that would be an instant alliance.
Sure.
We would be in the top 3.
We would definitely be, yeah.
Perfect. So anyway, to all the commenters, if we didn't get to yours this week, we're sorry. Keep commenting. We'll be back very, very soon.
And make sure to comment Team Justin, Team Jess, or Team James.
And make it a hashtag on Twitter.
Yeah.
Let's get that trending.
Let's get it trending, guys.
Guys, we had 31 watchers. That was the highest watchers we had on our after show today. All right, Justin, where can they find you on social media?
You can find me on all the social media sites at Justin J. Nichols.
And you guys can find me at DressJessXO.
And you can find me on Twitter at James Wallington, and I changed my Instagram name to at James.Wallington. I was trying to make it a little bit more, because you guys are like, oh, it's just this on all social media, so I'm moving up in the world.
Look at you, James. And also, probably the easiest way, though, is if you guys just follow AfterBuzz TV on social media.
Yes.
They're always putting our Twitter handles
and our
out
content,
there and on there. So you'll find it there. That's the easiest way.
And thank you for everyone tuning in live today, making it a fun, interactive after show for us, and we will see you next week.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.